You'll likely know by now that I really disagree with this mainstream orthopedic idea that A, muscles get tight or shortened randomly, and B, that this tightness can present not only as tightness, but also as pain and at rest, or not when the muscle is actually being stretched, where that tightness would be apparent. I really disagree with those ideas, and of course I think in the large majority of those cases, what the clinician is missing is that a joint, proximally likely, or in the spine, is sending referred symptoms to where the muscle is. It can create that feeling of ache, discomfort, tightness, or pain, and it can create mechanical problems where the joint is moving, and so for the muscle can seem short, but if it rapidly changes with moving the joint in a specific direction, then it wasn't true muscle tightness. Nonetheless, I want to point out today that one way I kind of think about this is that when a person is sitting, especially slouched, the muscles in the front of the body are in a shortened position. I don't believe that necessarily muscles in a shortened position will become short. So the hip flexors are in the shortened position, the rectus abdominis in the trunk, and the neck flexors in the front of the neck. And how many times have we heard people say, I need to stretch my rectus abdominis, or I need to stretch my neck flexors? They don't. This idea that a muscle that's shortened a lot of the day becomes tight, shortened, or painful, it doesn't hold that much water. If there's immobilization from a cast or extensive bed rest, then possibly. But tissues don't just seize up, don't just become so short that they can't move. I have tons of people move into low back extension and neck extension, and I can count probably on one hand the number of times people have said they can't do it because the rectus abdominis is too tight, or they can't extend their neck because the muscles in the front of their neck are too tight. If they initially feel that stretch, at end range, mind you, it will typically pass within a few repetitions. It can warm up and that tissue can move nicely. And how many times do we hear people complaining about my abdomen muscles are tight or painful, or the front of my neck really hurts, it's tight and painful? We don't hear those things because it doesn't add up that just because a muscle is in a shortened position, it not only becomes short, but also tight and painful when at rest. So the next time a clinician tells you that your problem is tissue being tight, especially muscle tissue being tight, I would really second guess that idea. We have to do repeated movement testing in the large majority of patients' cases to see if moving a joint in a specific direction releases that tightness or lets that muscle move mechanically well again. Time and time again, people will tell me they have a hip flexor problem and it's their lumbar spine joint or their hip joint. Just like I don't find that people have anterior hip symptoms because the hip flexor is short and sitting most of the day, I don't find people have abdomen symptoms because their rectus abdominis is short and sitting most of the day, or anterior neck tightness or pain because their neck flexors are short and sitting most of the day. So find a clinician who understands this. Otherwise, you're going to be stretching, releasing, lacrosse balling, rolling muscles all the time when they're not actually the problem.